It's Perp back with another video, and I just got done checking out the new Mr. and Mrs. Smith series on Amazon Prime. Man, I know there was a lot of controversy before this shit even came out that, oh man, they're race swapping Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which, if you watch the series, there's a perfect explanation for that. This stars Donald Glover and Maya Erskine. Maya Erskine, you might recognize her voice because she voiced Mizu on Blue Eyed Samurai, so that's something to kind of, keep in mind. But Donald Glover, he is a big part of this whole production. He EP'd this project, this series. And I gotta say, man, I like this more than the movie. Now, I haven't watched Mr. and Mrs. Smith in such a long time, but I remember the premise. You have these two couples that go by the code name Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Jane and John Smith. They are pretty much, undercover. And I like how they introduce us to these characters where, they're just kind of getting started, and we start to see their relationship blossom throughout the whole entire series. We see them go through their honeymoon period all the way until they're doing marriage counseling, where things are really getting shaky in the relationship. And I think that's what makes this series better than the movie, because one, you have 8 episodes here that you could really just flesh out these characters and really go in depth with certain themes, or just kind of getting more backstory on each individual character. So once they get started, they just do like a bunch of random jobs. They don't really know exactly why. They just answer to this guy at this company named Hi, and they have to kind of relay messages back and forth to let them know, yeah, the mission was complete. But they have pretty much a 3-strike policy. If anybody fucks up, or things go left, and they end up getting 3 strikes. And we kind of see that in the very first episode, where we see like this random couple just getting murked. And I'm assuming that those are also Mrs. and Mr. Smiths, which I really like that concept, that there's this whole network of Smiths out there, almost on some John Wick shit, but they're like couples. Anyways, their first mission in the first episode is to deliver this cake. But what they don't know is that that cake was an explosive, and just straight up, I did not see that really coming. Even though you kind of seen it in the trailer, that was pretty crazy. People like to blow shit up in this, so just keep that in mind. Then we get to episode 2, and this is the first time that they fuck up on a mission with this whole silent auction thing that was going on, and they start to get a lot more closer after episode 2, going into episode 3, 4, and 5. 6 and 7 and 8 is where you really see their personalities start to clash. As just any couple, whenever you get close to one another, y'all are going to fight about certain things, and the job is going to pretty much get in the way. And it does make it hard for them to focus on their job, because now they're fighting. And once we get to like episode 6, where we have Sarah Paulson as their therapist, during one of those missions, that's where they get their 2nd strike. And it's at that point where it seems like they're just kind of phoning it in, not really focused. They constantly are slipping up, messing up. And it gets to a point where they get their 3rd strike, and everything kind of comes crashing down. But the one episode you should definitely pay attention to, I think it's episode 3 or 4, whenever they meet the other Smiths, that they also are in the business of what they're doing, but they're at a more higher level. And what that higher level is to pretty much get rid of other Smiths. So that's pretty interesting. Like, they built this whole kind of world that there's this big shadowy kind of figure that we're probably gonna have to wait to see who that person is down the line if this does get a season 2 and beyond. But yeah, I like this, because at the center of it, at its core, it's a story about two people falling in love, but also you have comedy mixed in, which it's not slapstick comedy or anything like that. It's not a goofy show. It can get goofy at times, but it definitely still takes itself serious when it needs to take itself serious. We have a lot of, heartfelt moments, personal moments between these two. Like, for instance, I like that we understand, or we get to know these characters based on their relationship with their parents. For instance, Jane doesn't talk to her father for a specific reason. John, on the other hand, he still keeps in contact with his mother, which one of the rules were to kind of cut off, all ties to your old life, and this is what you need to accept now, which I'm curious to see how they're going to play into that, depending on how season 2 would go. There's a lot of angles they could definitely take. I could see John's mom being a target to kind of get them out of hiding if they do end up surviving this whole encounter with the other Smiths. So yeah, I'm really surprised by this, how much I like this show. I would be definitely down for multiple seasons because I definitely like these two's chemistry. I think they do excellent with the drama side of things and also the humor. There's a lot of funny moments throughout this series. So yeah, just overall had a really good time. There's a lot of cool action, very violent, pretty violent. I wouldn't say very violent, but it's pretty violent, pretty graphic. A lot of surprise guests, like Rob Perlman was in this, Sarah Paulson, Paul Dano as their neighbor. He ends up being like this real estate agent, but I always felt like there was like more to his character, but no, he's just like a real estate agent that just wants their house. So that was pretty funny for the little time that we got with him. Really dope show. But let me know if you get around to watching this series. What did you think about it? Did you like this more than the movie itself? Do you want to see more? Or were you just okay with it? Is it fine? Is it one and done? Or just did you think it was terrible? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Till next time, I'm out.